What is something you've heard someone say that actually left you speechless? Ex-girlfriend to me. I hope that someday you'll hate someone as much as I hate you. Double quote. God damn, she went nuclear with that one. We were in a grocery store, starting to head down an aisle, when a man stopped us and said, "I'd recommend avoiding this aisle, my wife just cut a wicked fart." His candor left us speechless. Sure enough, even in the next aisle, we could smell it wafting in our direction. My first reaction is that he did it and he blamed his wife on it, and that he does this often. Babe, you know how much I love you, so don't be mad, but I've been sleeping with your cousin for a while and we are in love and I'm gonna need you to support me on this. Also, if her husband calls, tell him she is with you. Double quote. Needless to say, the speechless portion didn't last too long. Want to mention this was months ago and the situation has been handled. They are both dead to me. Let me guess. You probably think fossils are real, don't you? Double quote. What? Whoa. This happened to me too. 10th grade, age 15 or 16. A girl in my art class said, "I don't believe in dinosaurs." I was about to explain, fossils, all of the evidence, then realized, you can't fix stupid. Me. Dot. And just a heads up, we close at 5 PM today. Double quote. Customer. No you don't. Double quote. Me. Dot. And just a heads up, we close at 5 PM today. Customer. No you don't. Me. I really hope they waved their hand like a Jedi and you went along with it. Looking at your phone at work is the same thing as showing up to work drunk or on drugs. Not really. I could definitely still do this drunk or high. I was talking to someone about something important and I jokingly said to my friend, "What could you possibly hate about me?" Well, she goes on this long ass rant saying that I'm overdramatic, hypocritical, arrogant, and a political stereotype. I don't even know what she meant with half of the things she was saying. She said I was a hypocrite for not liking anime. How can you possibly be a hypocrite for not liking anime? We have a population of 330 million. If everyone just gave each other $1, we'd all be millionaires. Bimbo co-worker I had. It hurts my brain to think about how that would work. Sir, I'm sorry but I forgot to bring your speech. Me, was an accident and my dad did not want to have kids. I was not going to get an abortion, so we got divorced. Double quote. Something like that. I was 10. She always told me that they got married too young and wanted different things out of life. Don't eavesdrop on your mom's conversations with her friends drinking wine. Explains why my dad blows me off most of his weekends, and when I'm there, I'm just kinda there and he ignores me. Grow to do wonderful things in your life, and when your father shows up to share a piece of your success, ignore him. She probably let herself get abused when she was younger. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times I have heard someone say that. It seriously pisses me off. It's one of the many reasons I'm no longer a counselor. This kind of thing began to wear me down. I'm usually left speechless after my dad drops a proper dad joke on my unsuspecting ass. I'll just give him a look that tells him I am eternally disappointed in his sense of humor, but also that what he said was kinda funny, without wanting to recognize that it was kinda funny. Hahaha. As a father of a son that gives those looks, I think you should respect your dad and laugh at his jokes. It hurts when the product of your union of love thinks you're not funny, lol. Can't you just get over it already? It's not like it's your mom or dad. You need to learn how to quit making everything about you and realize that I have problems too. An ex. Angry that I cancelled date night to go to the hospital while my grandpa was dying. Edit. Clarifying that ex and I are both dudes. Oh, you could have planned that better. Spoken to me by my manager after complaining I took a week off work due to a death in the family. I was so gobsmacked at the time I couldn't come up with a reply, but several co-workers gave him an earful on my behalf. You teach people how to treat you. Mind-blowing moment of realization that if I continued to say I suck and that no one should trust me with things, they will start to believe me and treat me as such. I keep telling something similar to this to people. You aren't getting any respect if you doesn't respect yourself. And people will treat you the way you let them. I literally hate the person I am right now. Edit. Genuine. Kind. Caring person. Really left me speechless. Man, thought you were talking about me. At times my depression hits and I hate everything about myself. I feel like I'm not a good enough mom or wife. Was at a small, shitty dinner that's gone now. Two older couples were at the next booth over, talking about how one couple was trying to sell their house. They were complaining that no one would want to buy it, since a black family moved in next door. The other guy said it's simple. When you're walking in the yard with potential buyers and you see the neighbor, ask him how the flowers are coming along this year. They'll just assume he's the gardener. Double quote. A friend and I were in a store buying mannequins for our thrifting business. The guy who owns the store pointed to a specific mannequin and said, "This one has great tits. Not like my sister-in-law's. She breastfed her baby and one day she whipped them out to feed him and they look like fried eggs. Ruined forever. My wife is in her 70s and she has perky little tits because she didn't breastfeed our kids." Then he went on to tell us how his daughter breastfeeds and how great it is for babies. WTF. We had known this guy all of 30 seconds before he unloaded this breastfeeding sigh on us. The NFL saying Black Lives Matter after collusively blacklisting and insulting Kaepernick for half a decade is the one getting to me this morning. Not only that, but they admitted they were wrong to make a policy against kneeling but refused to mention Kaepernick by name in the statement, probably because of pending litigation. I was at the funeral for my dad, who unfortunately passed before his parents, my grandparents, did. Oma, grandmother, is very sad and goes up to pay her last respects. As she comes back, she's crying, and she reaches out for my sister's hand and grips it tightly. She says, "Ach. His hands are so cold. So cold." Double quote. My sister. "Don't worry, Oma. He'll be warm soon." Double quote. She may have been thinking of the afterlife like Dante, who saw heaven as the warm place with the light of God on everyone, and hell as becoming increasingly cold as you go further down. You can't email me the document. I need you to fax it to me because it has to be original. There are so many places that require only faxed copies of documents and won't accept scanned copies in an email. Looking at you. Con Edison. FCKU and your proof of residence requirements. I just use a service that will take an email and turn it into a fax now. But it still pisses me off. Honors chemistry in senior year of high school. Working on our final project, needed to add an RCl to something. Girl spends 10 minutes tearing lots of potentially dangerous chemicals off of the chemical storeroom shelves because she can't find a beaker with NaCl. I point out the box of table salt and say, "Let's use that." She berates me for being so stupid to think to use table salt. Except that's literally what she was looking for. I still don't know what to say to that one. Except that now she's a surgeon. A colleague calling her own son of a bitch. A friend's mom told me a story about that back in middle school. She'd called her son of a bitch and he just spat back, "You're right." They both started laughing and it ended the argument. She's good people. I'm right because I confused you. Double quote. Nope. That's called being so wrong I don't know where to start. I like girls so thin they look anorexic. Like I wanna see their ribs when I bend them over. Edited to add. Have your preference by all means, but man, that guy was disgusting. Yeah, people can have their preferences, but that's definitely not mine, lol. You know that the world doesn't revolve around you, right? Double quote. My guidance counselor. I came to her 2 days in a row because I was extremely depressed. My guidance counselor called me into her office about the pregnancy rumors spreading about me. I thought she would help me deal with it socially. Nope. She asked if I was a virgin. I said yes. First year in high school, she proceeded to tell me she didn't believe me and if I want to have sex I need to know that people will talk. She ended with handing me a condom and telling me to be safe, dear. We all care about you. I used to have a friend with whom I had a 3-hour-long discussion about physics-related questions which he asked me. The questions all revolved around gravity in some way. At first, I thought he was genuinely interested in this topic. After 5 hours, I suddenly found myself googling papers that discussed gravitational waves and stuff like that. Goes way over my head. So by then I got suspicious and asked him that if he wasn't willing to accept my answer, what would he think the answer is then? Flat Earth? I blocked his ass. I was having a debate with my cousin on feminism and women rights. After stating many facts and showing him articles as sources, his response was, well, if it all sucked so much why didn't women do anything about it? I was once arguing with a second cousin who's a hardcore MRA. And he kept saying that men have always been the oppressed ones because they had to live through wars, plagues, famines, and other historical hardships. As if those things didn't directly impact women. 2. It's like he believed that women were a recent invention. This happened around a decade ago at a work Christmas party. When entirely unprovoked, one of my colleagues said my little boy really likes going to seaside town because there's no black people there, and didn't see anything wrong with what she said or why we were asking her why she said it. Literally no reason why whatsoever. Close bracket. She was in her 20s, so it wasn't an age thing or early onset dementia or any other reason behind it. She just wanted to say it and felt like at a Christmas party whilst looking at our menus was the best time to say it. At a tournament where a player got 3 complaints lodged against himself for offensive behavior. Told me, the judge, that it was my fault that they couldn't take a joke. Yes, you read that right. He blamed the judges for other players getting offended. You shouldn't microwave water. It takes the oxygen out. Double quote. HM. Cold water can retain more dissolved gases than hot. So on one level, she was technically correct. It doesn't split the molecule, though. And I can think of no way, outside of an aquarium, where having less dissolved oxygen is going to impact anything. The different time zones is due to the theory of relativity, right? Lol. You just can't predict stupid sometimes. My dad telling me it's your fault you hate me. You are a problem child. All of your siblings get along with me, just you don't. All this time you've just been trying to control me, but I won't let you do that, so that is why you hate me. In a queue at a till a couple of years ago with my young children, and the pram lady in front turns around and says they are lovely, says she loves her granddaughter even though, in her words, the granddaughter is half caste, mixed race. Lovely? Damn. That's sad. I work in travel and it wasn't a single sentence so much as a co-worker having an entire conversation with a customer and telling them Berlin was a country. Myself and the other co-worker in the store were dumbfounded. Slightly related. My high school did cabaret 2 years ago. At the end, there's a monologue that goes along the lines of in a country called Germany. In a town called Berlin. Double quote. Our Cliff mixed up the words and said in a town called Germany. Which I'm proud to say has become a running joke. I'm not racist or nothing. But I can't vote for that Obama cause he's a black. Double quote. Rural SC. June 2008. I once encountered an acquaintance who was on a date while I was out for a beer. And tagged along with their group out of curiosity. At one point he literally stole the poor girl's car keys and said, "Now you have to follow me around like a puppy." I had a police detective tell me that if he saw a cop commit a crime he wouldn't do anything about it. He would only say something if he was asked. And that cops should not be held to a higher standard than anyone else. Not with me but with a friend. His grandma was dying, so he went to the hospital. He immediately told his girlfriend because he needed some support during this. His girlfriend reaction, who had lost her grandma 2 months before that. How can you be so selfish? You know I lost my grandma. You can deal with this yourself. He showed me the conversation and I was absolutely stunned. Someone told me, to my face, that the mental disorder I am diagnosed with doesn't exist. Like holy shit. Dude. Mom. I have anxiety. Double quote. Can't you just relax? Double quote. My gods. Woman. What a solution. I have never considered this. You've cured literally every anxiety disorder ever. F-king brilliant. I'm better and smarter than everyone. Double quote. From a 4x divorced. 5. 4 higher ed degrees but perpetually broke. Criminal. I'm gonna go drink CO2. He mistaken water for carbon dioxide. I'm just sitting there like what? Dot. This dude over here drinking substances that can't even exist under normal conditions. Walking through grocery store parking lot. Woman rolls down her window and points at me and says wieners on the post. The bollard next to me had a package of hot dogs sitting on top of it. Speechless at the time. Giggle about every other week for years. Friends were counting screwdrivers and stuff like that at work and one of them was like, yo. What's 11 plus 13? The other guy didn't hesitate and pulled out a calculator. A gal at my salon was complaining of symptoms which suggested an STD. When I suggested she go get tested, she told me that she refused because STDs don't exist. They're just a government conspiracy to scare us out of having sex. I was stumped. Stop wiping your dirty feet on the mat. This mat was right in front of the back door. My mom came back from Mexico and gave us a souvenir. It was a blanket. She proudly said this was made by real Mexicans. Double quote. My husband is Mexican. Our son is biracial. My mom acts like she never met a Mexican person before lol. I'm voting for Trump because he tells the truth. These people now spend hours of their lives typing paragraphs on social media about how he didn't mean what he said. My dad told me once, you know. Today is the anniversary of my father's death and it's made me think a lot. When I look at you, 12-year-old me, I can't help but feel immensely disappointed. Double quote. Someone told me one time, rather confidently too, that the moon was a star. My mom when she was drunk. I'm going to tell your dad I'm leaving him. Double quote. Why do adults say private adult things to their children? That is too heavy a topic to say to your child while drunk. You are not her friend. You're her child. I understand talking to your child when divorce becomes inevitable. But casually mentioning leaving your father is mind-blowing to me.